Alright, I'm going to take the dog out for a little walk, and that raises a question. It's always a good idea to do something when you're going out for a walk, right? So today we're going to do the impossible turn in a Husky. So stick with us on Flywire. Hey, I'm Scott Perdue, and today on Flywire we're going to go out to do a little flying in the Husky, and one of our objectives, our main objective, is to do the impossible turn. We're going to see what happens in this airplane when we had simulated engine failure. If you remember, I did the turn back, how do we teach that article or video a little while ago, and basically we're going to do that exercise. We're not going to land. There's no intention to land out of this. What there is intention is to practice the turn back and the picture. See what the energy management is and the picture, and see if it's a landable kind of event. We'll do a couple of those. And in between I'm gonna practice some short takeoff and hopefully some short landings. We shall see. Looks like the winds are mostly from the south. Tad gusty. So that would be in my favor for both, right? Good winds for takeoff and land, low ground speed, etc. So the technique I'm going to use for takeoffs today is I'm going to start with 20 degrees of flaps, and when I get the tail up, I'm going to let it stabilize for just a second or so. Then I'm going to pop the flaps to 30, and at the same time aft elevator. And the airplane should just fly off the ground at a pretty slow rate, I would think. We'll see. Borland traffic, yellow Husky, back taxi, 17 Borland. Beautiful day now. It was a little cloudy and crappy earlier. Winds picked up and blew the clouds out, I guess. Or maybe the temperature just warmed up a little bit. We're going to see what wing loading, if there is really an effect, like I claim, that wing loading has a significant effect on your ability to turn back. We're going to start at 500 feet. Not 1,000 like we did in the Bonanza. My normal climb, see, what is it? The best glide is 73, min sink is 68. Buck actually mentions that. So we're going to use those numbers today. The climb speed I usually use is 80 miles an hour. So that's what I'm going to be using. That'll be a little bit above the best glide speed. We'll set that and then transition to min sink because we're close to the airport. Maximize our time. That's the important part here. Skyhawk, you ready to go?
If you guys are ready, you guys can go out in front of us.
Yellow Husky copies. Borland traffic, Yellow Husky taking the active 17 Borland, departing to the south.
Beautiful Husky.
Thank you. Analyst. Right, mixture, prop, throttle. All set. There we go.
Who said you need the actual runway to take off?
That was pretty short, wasn't it?
I'd say it's about like 10, 15 foot.
Alright, looking at the windsock, the winds are just a little bit from the left, variable to the nose, so definitely south flow.
caution and wind or left downwind for 180.
It's 15 miles to the north on the RNAV 18 approach.
Kendall traffic, Husky 1 Juliet Alpha is crossing Midfield 2300 inbound at record, open to westbound 118. Kendall.
All right.
Record traffic, 2135 Bravo, descending out of 5,000 feet over the field, simulated engine failure, Bridgeport.
All right. So I got flap set, I got flap solid set, trim set. This is going to be a short takeoff, but then once I accelerate, I'm going to climb up to 500 feet, and that's 1,500 on the clock. And then I'm going to initiate a simulated engine failure. We're going to turn back. We're going to use 100 feet as my knock it off altitude, and we'll see what happens. All right, here we go. Hey. 400 feet. I got 73 set. I can turn back. Transition to 68 as I can. Bit of a backfire. Get my men sync. All right, the bird. Well, it looked like to me that I could make it back to the field, but it climbs so well that I didn't have an awful lot of the field left to land on. I'm sure I could have landed and landed short without running off into the fence, but I definitely gave up an awful lot of field for that. So the airplane had more than ability to make that turn back. So I got to delay it a little bit. That's what happens, really, is I need to delay the actual turn back instead of immediately. There's so much residual lift in this thing. There's so much lift capability that you gotta manage that. Because I was turning back. Probably we reached 500 feet, just a hair beyond the end of the field, the runway. It's about 3,000 feet long. But I was coming back and been able to land on the last maybe 800 to 1,000. Which again is, like I said, is plenty for this airplane. I can land on less than that, but that was kind of the issue. I'd rather have a little more. Well, that was fun. So I think we learned a pretty good lesson. Let's try a teardrop. That's about the only thing I can think of really is a bit of a right turn and then back, and then we'll land downwind. Hopefully we'll see if we can utilize some more runway. All right, ready to go. Here we go. 500. All right. Well, I can make it back. The winds are really blowing me pretty good. I was a little bit fast, so I had to bleed off some energy, but I could have made it back to the runway, so it looks like that is a viable maneuver for this high wing loaded airplane, or low wing loaded airplane vice a high wing loaded airplane.
Well, there you have it. We did some short takeoff and landing stuff in the Husky, and I think you see how, for the takeoff part, I think you see how effective these flaps 30 degrees of flaps, these Fowler flaps are for popping you into the air. I mean, I was barely indicating 20-ish, and then you do the pop, and I think some of that 20 indication was because of turbulent flow and AOA. But once we popped the flaps, everything settled down. It was about 38-ish maybe or so, something like that, when the airplane actually popped into the air. It's pretty impressive. And then I just hold it in the ground effector nearly there and accelerate and gradually milk up the flaps. So that's my technique. Yours may vary. You can try what you like. You don't have to try mine. And whatever. So the real purpose of the flight, though, today was to check out the turnback option for this airplane. It's a low wing loaded airplane. In other words, it's got a lot of lift for the amount of square footage, actually, on the wings for the amount of the weight in the airplane, and as opposed to the Bonanza, which is a fairly high wing loaded airplane. But we did our turnbacks at 500 feet, and the first one, I did 3, I didn't show you the second one, but the first one I did, it was, I made it back, but it was a nice leisurely 45-degree turn, and, no aggressive maneuvering. I could have made it back to the runway, and because this is a short takeoff and landing airplane, I could have landed pretty easily. But I wasted some runway doing that. And on the third one I did, which you saw as the second, what I did was I did a kind of a hook turn to the right, and then to give me spacing to make the turn, and that gave me a lot more runway. It worked out a lot better. Still did a 45 leisurely turn. I didn't want to do any aggressive maneuvering. Right at the end game, there's a little bit of aggressive turn back to line up with the runway, but it wasn't a big deal. So at 500 feet in this airplane, I think it's doable. And in the Bonanza, we saw that 700 feet or 1,000 feet, it ain't working. So I think that really supports my assertion that your ability to turn back really depends on the wing loading of your airplane. Okay, and once that's established, then it's a proficiency issue. I think you should practice this. If you ever expect to do it for real, you need to practice it, and don't necessarily do it with intention to land. Okay, as a matter of fact, I'm recommending you don't do that. Just practice the turn back so you can get the picture, the energy picture, how your airplane operates and handling the odd wind or anything like that, so you have some proficiency in the maneuver should an engine failure on takeoff after takeoff happen to you. That's my nickel on the grass. Practice it. Be proficient. And if you're not, if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. Just pick something ahead of the wing line and land. And just don't even bother going back. Okay? Try to be safe. Because any aggressive maneuvering you do here low to the ground and you stall it, there's not much room to recover, and then you got to land again, and without an engine, so it's problematic. Okay, so don't press it. And in training, I see no reason to give yourself a second emergency. So that's my nickel in the grass. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Have fun flying, and really have fun flying this thing. It's a lot of fun. It just is. Maybe I said that too many times. Nah. So if you like the video, I'd like you hit like and subscribe. It looks a bit like this here. I appreciate that. It helps my algorithm, you know, and in YouTube world, everything is all about the algorithm. And I'd like to thank my Patreon supporters. They're right here. Without your help, it would sure make doing these videos a little bit harder. So thanks. And if you'd like to help the channel, I'll leave a link below for the Flywire Patreon page if you'd like to support the channel there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Flywire.